So 1 in 3 landlords have never heard of this tax change, and out of those who know about it, 76% wish they were more aware of the requirements. That means most landlords are walking into thousands of pounds of fines starting from April 2026. So what's actually changing? Currently, the income you make from your rental property, you report your total income and your expenses. For these expenses, keeping paper receipts is absolutely fine. You're allowed to use spreadsheets, and at the end of the year, you do one annual self-assessment which is due by the 31st of January. However, from April 2026, you still have to declare your total income and expenses, but the first requirement is every single transaction must be digital. You have to keep a digital record of everything, all your income and all your expenses. You can no longer just have paper receipts. So in order to do this effectively, you need a software whereby you can add your expenses quite easily. With Xero, you simply upload all of your expenses in there. You can choose the amount which matches this invoice, add in the description below, and then press approve. This way, all of your income and all of your expenses, they're completely digitized. The second requirement is you can no longer use a spreadsheet, and you can only submit your tax returns using a HMRC approved software. So the way this will work is your bank will be connected to the software, so all of your transactions get fed into the software, and using the software you will have to submit your tax returns, so you will have real-time tracking for all of your properties. And according to Landlord Today, you could potentially get a fine of up to £400 if you're not using a HMRC approved software when it comes to submitting your tax returns. And now the third requirement, which is the biggest out of all of them, up till now you only had one annual self-assessment. From April 2026, you will have to do a quarterly self-assessment, which will be due on the 5th of May, 5th of August, 5th of November, and 5th of Feb. On top of that, you will also have to do a final submission at the end of the year, which will still be due by the 31st of January. So rather than doing one self-assessment, you now have to do 5 tax returns every single year. Quarterly submissions can be very painful, but again, if you're set up the right way, it doesn't have to be that difficult. Just click on reporting, open up your report, and then just select the time frame that you're looking at. So let's say we're looking at the first quarter of 2025. So you go from January 1st to end of March, and then click update. So very quickly you can see all of your income and all of your expenses, and from inside this software you can submit your tax returns very quickly and very easily. Now all of this might seem very painful and very annoying if you're not used to digitizing everything, but there is one big benefit. Once everything is digitized, you can see how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, you know exactly how much money is in your bank account, and so you have a much better understanding of your property business overall. With most people, invoices are everywhere, spreadsheets are done on the last second, so you never actually have a true understanding of how profitable you are. Now if you don't do this on time, there is a £200 fine for late submissions and a 2 to 5% fine on late payments. These changes are not going to impact every single landlord from April 2026. Before I get into who it impacts and who it doesn't impact, if you are a landlord and you want to start preparing and you want to start making everything digital, then click the link in the description below, because I've partnered with Xero to bring a special discount for my audience so you can get ahead of this tax change. Thank you Xero for sponsoring this video. So who exactly is impacted by this? Now these changes only apply to people who are sole traders and who are in partnerships. This does not apply to limited companies. So all of my properties I buy in a limited company, so it doesn't apply to me, but I know a lot of people have properties in their personal name, so this will apply to you. The second thing is, I'll get into the income thresholds in a second. The income thresholds are based on your gross rental income, not your profit. So let's say you have a property and you make £2,000 a month rental income, then your total income which goes into the threshold is £24,000 a year. Now if you own a property jointly, so let's say it's you and your spouse and the property makes £24,000 a year and you own that property 50-50, well then £12,000 of that goes into your threshold and £12,000 of that goes into their threshold, since you own that property 50-50. And finally, the biggest of them all, these thresholds are combined with your self-employment income. So let's say you're self-employed and you make £40,000 a year, £50,000 a year from your self-employment income. This gets added on top of that. So it'll be £50,000 plus £24,000 of your income. That means your total income, which is £74,000, which goes into these thresholds. So what exactly are the thresholds? From April 2026, if your combined income from self-employment and property is more than £50,000, then you have to start following the rules and you have to start digitizing everything. From April 27, that drops to £30,000. So a lot more landlords get dragged into this. And then from April 28, which is the final threshold, that gets dropped to £20,000. So virtually every single landlord who owns a property in their personal name gets impacted by this. Now, even if you don't fit into the threshold from April 2026, it's still good to start preparing for this, because when you do get into the threshold, you need a full year's worth of accounts, all your income, all your expenses. And with all software, with all technology, there is a bit of a learning curve to learn how to do everything the correct way, set up your bank account, set up your software, and all of that is not going to happen overnight. So if you're a landlord and you want to start preparing, click the link in the description below and start digitizing everything. And if you want to learn how to legally pay zero tax on all of your property income, then watch this video here.